I just wanted to get together with my community and do something right, rebuild, help out.
And Ashley, the other day, you received an email from the City of Oshawa bylaw enforcement. It wasn't a Christmas card, was it?
No, it was not. I received a fine for $250.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Pickering, Ontario. And folks, you may remember we were in nearby Oshawa, Ontario on Sunday. Ashley Wickett is the leader of a group that organized a giveaway of food, clothing, toiletries, and other items. This was a giveaway to homeless people at Memorial Park in Oshawa, but she was forewarned by Oshawa bylaw that if you do so, there will be financial consequences. Why don't we just whip back a few days, because Efren and I were there to watch what happened. Check it out.
I just wanted to get together with my community and do something right, rebuild, help out.
And when you were dealing with the city or the bylaw department, did they say why this is a bad thing, helping out people with food, clothing, toiletries who are in very dire circumstances?
They didn't give a reason, no.
What do you think is the unspoken reason? Because I, for the life of me, I can't figure out why this is something that has to be stopped and even ticketed with fines.
I asked myself the same question. I wonder if it comes down to profit.
Oh, in other words, because there was a mention by the city that you have to have a permit.
Yes.
So you have to have a permit to be a Good Samaritan in Oshawa, Ontario. Is part of the reason here that this group that is about to leave in just a few minutes to Memorial Park, they got that word freedom in their name. And in some circles, freedom is the new F-bomb, inexplicably. Is that what's driving this? They see these as, people who are pro-freedom trucker convoy. And of course, these are Canada's deplorables when you ask certain people.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me, Dave. Yeah. I mean, with these guys, it seems like they change their answer every time it's convenient for them. I mean, at first it was a problem because maybe our food wouldn't be safe to, for a private agency to distribute 120 meals a day. So we went and got the health inspector. Right. They said, hey, you needed insurance. Okay, we'll go get insurance. Need a permit. Okay, we'll get an insurance. Now, all of a sudden, nobody should be able to do it unless you go get your nonprofit incorporation. And I'm thinking to myself, well, eventually I'm just going to be as expensive and inefficient as you are.
Well, folks, we are here at Oshawa's Memorial Park, and as you can see behind me, there is a bylaw officer in a van. There was also another bylaw officer in a pickup truck. But as soon as we got out of our vehicles, he just buggered off. I guess he doesn't want the publicity, or maybe he's going for backup. Who knows? But the people, the volunteers that want to distribute the clothing and food and toiletries to the homeless, they have set up at the corner here.
Maybe they actually haven't lived this life either. It kind of changes your perspective. But I think it's pretty heartless if they, as you said, this close to Christmas, people are definitely needing the assistance, and if the people are in a position to help, by all means, it should be fair game.
So there you have it. The bylaw enforcement officers, once we arrived, they left. They fled, it seemed, but did they really? Because they did circle back. They were photographing the people, helping the other people who were in need, and the question remained, were they going to follow up on their threats, or was their bark worse than their bite? And Ashley, the other day, you received an email from the City of Oshawa bylaw enforcement. It wasn't a Christmas card, was it?
No, it was not. I received a fine for $250.
$250. And first of all, I mean, you're a single mother of 2 children. I would imagine that $250, that's a substantial amount for you, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a lot with the holidays, and I have both their birthdays in January coming up also.
Let's go back. I mean, people I tell this story to, they almost don't believe it. They're saying, oh, no, this is fake news. The idea of Good Samaritans going out into a park and giving people who are destitute, who are in need of food and clothing and so many other things, the idea that law enforcement or bylaw enforcement would come down on you, it seems preposterous, but it actually happened. The question arises, why?
Yeah, I asked myself that question also. It's really sad. It's sad.
I've gone through the legalese. Evidently, you need a permit when it comes to vending. I'm not sure if giving away something for free is actually vending. And I mean, we talked about this on Sunday. You said, okay, we won't go into the park. Yeah. We'll hand out the items from our cars. And they said, oh, not so fast. We're going to get you on the Highway Traffic Act. I guess you need a permit for that too, much like, an ice cream vendor. But you're not profiting from this. You're doing a good thing. Why is the city coming down on you in this way?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know. We actually, that day, we didn't do it from the back of our vehicles either. Yes. We picked everything up and walked it around. There was a friend of mine out there an hour earlier before we all went out, and he's a freedom fighter. He has flags, and he was actually approached by 2 bylaw officers stating he can't do this here, which he was just parked there doing nothing.
Now, I see you said the F word because in some circles in our society today, incredibly, freedom is the new F-bomb. Freedom is part of your organization's name, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's called?
Communities for Freedom.
Communities for Freedom. Well, imagine that. Sounds like Antifa almost. But here's the deal. Is that the unspoken reason that there are people that associate anything that having to do with the freedom movement, your ne'er-do-wells, your people conveying hate somehow? I mean, it's shocking to me that freedom could have that definition, Ashley. But is this what it is that the city of Oshawa, freedom people, they're troublemakers, let's go after them, even though you're doing a very good thing?
Yeah, it almost seems that way. Also on Sunday, there was another group that was out with us that was vending from their vehicles.
Yes.
And I don't think they realized that. They just grouped us all together and,
It's incredible. I guess we have to move forward with this. What are you going to do? Are you going to pay the fine? Is there a way to fight the fine? I don't know if this is one of these, so-called AMPS tickets where you've got to go to bylaw and plead your case to them, not a judge, and try to get the fine reduced. What's going to happen?
Yeah, it says I can try to dispute it.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to try to do.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
And is it a matter of getting it thrown out, or is it a matter of they're just going to reduce it a few bucks for you?
I'm hoping to get it thrown out.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes no sense. $250, that could go to helping them. They could have came and they could have brought me a permit.
Exactly. And is there a cost to these permits, Ashley?
There is. I don't know the exact total on the cost, but I think sometimes, too, depending on what you're doing, you need to get insurance also. Oh. So it's going to cost a good, what I could give out for lunch for the day.
I'm just wondering if that's the city's motivation. They want to sell these permits, and you guys not buying the permits, that's their issue as opposed to the merits of your program.
Yeah, it could be, it could come down to profit.
It's incredible. Well, Ashley, it's an astonishing story. We're going to go out to Oshawa City Hall. We're going to try to get some answers to some questions. I mean, I noticed when the bylaw officers were driving around, they were using their cell phones to take pictures and film while driving, and yet that is a violation of the Highway Traffic Act. I know law enforcement has an exemption. I don't know if bylaw does, but we're going to try to get some answers. I feel really bad for you and your group. It seems that in the city of Oshawa, no good deed goes unpunished these days.
Yeah, it's just really sad.
Okay, then. All right. Well, listen, Ashley, Merry Christmas to you, and I hope you get some justice when you argue your ticket in the weeks ahead.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you.
Well, folks, ace cameraman Lincoln J. and myself, we went east on 401 back to the city of Oshawa. We're attempting to get someone to come on camera and explain why it is strictly verboten in this city to give homeless people food, clothing, toiletries, you name it. Now, we reached out to communications earlier today. It's almost quitting time. We haven't heard back from anyone. We spoke to a nice receptionist here. She was unable to help us out. And really, the crux of the matter is this. I know there is a bylaw against giving out food and clothing to the homeless, but I just want to understand what the ostensible policy reason is behind that bylaw in the first place. I mean, this is all about people being good Samaritans. These people aren't profiting. They're volunteers. They're trying to help people in dire need, and that is against the law, or at least against the bylaw here in Oshawa. Also, I want to know, is it okay for bylaw officers to drive around and use their cell phones to record videos and take pictures? I know police officers have an exemption from the handheld device rule when they drive, but I don't know if bylaw has that exemption, and if they don't, maybe there's some bylaw officers that have to give other bylaw officers a ticket there. And finally, as you can see, there is a fleet of bylaw enforcement officers on standby, or municipal law enforcement as they call it here in Oshawa. Because, you know, you just never have an idea when someone might phone in that they've spotted a person giving a homeless person, I don't know, a cup of hot chocolate, a new pair of socks, a new toothbrush perhaps, because that sort of activity is strictly illegal in Oshawa, and if you dare violate the rules, you're going to be stung with a nice $250 fine, regardless if we're just days before Christmas or not. Unbelievable. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, I know you trust Rebel News to bring you the other side of the story, but here's the thing. We don't get any government funding, nor would we accept it if offered. We are completely independent, but we are dependent on you. If you can go to rebelinvestigates.com, that's rebelinvestigates.com, if you can kindly make a donation, we would greatly appreciate it.